everyone. Welcome to the Leader's Edge. I'm your host, Steve Steele, where we dive into insights and principles that will supercharge your leadership and ignite your personal growth. Now, whether you're a budding entrepreneur, a leader navigating change, or a seasoned pro, this show's for you. Each episode is packed with practical strategies designed to elevate your mindset and apply your leadership impact. So get ready for actionable steps that you can put into practice immediately. And a huge shout out to all of our amazing listeners. Thank you so much for your unwavering support. So let's get started and unlock your true potential. Today is going to be a little bit different show, and I look forward to this for quite some time now. My guest today has over 2 decades of experience in the field of pharmacy. This profession began her journey in a compounding pharmacy. After earning a doctorate in pharmacy from the University of Florida College of Pharmacy, she specialized in functional medicine, giving extensive training and expertise. Throughout her career, she has witnessed remarkable wellness outcomes in her patients. Finding this work deeply is rewarding. Emphasizing a holistic and personalized approach to health, she recognizes that the importance of providing patients with access to treatment plans crafted by a trusted pharmacist. Passionate about wellness, she believes that this journey is essential for living a fulfilled life. Advocating for collaboration in health, she understands that having the right support can bring joy, laughter, which are all a vital to our nutrition. Authenticity is central to her practice. She offers wellness recommendations grounded in her extensive knowledge of functional medicine and understanding the unique challenges of adhering to strict health regimens or regimes. She is committed to helping patients achieve anti-aging benefits. Wow. While fostering a supportive environment for their wellness journey. Hey, everyone. Welcome from the green room, Natasha Mankins. Hey, Natasha. Good to have you on the show. I'm so glad you're here. It's been a while. I mean, I've been trying to get you on the show.
I'm sorry, there's no sound on my end.
No sound. You can't hear me?
Let's see.
Okay, well, we'll work that out. When Nico in the background, we'll probably work that out and see if you can hear it. That's okay. All right. No sound. Okay, you're okay, Natasha. Can you hear? You can't hear me, so let's see here, Natasha. Let me see if I can just kind of roll in the chat a little bit. Our producer, Nico, I don't know whether or not you can hear me or not. I hope you can. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. Okay, good.
Good job. Did you get to hear your introduction? You didn't get to hear any of it, did you?
Didn't.
Oh, I gave you a great introduction. I just want you to know.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure you'll be able to see it on the recording, and anybody who was watching live can actually see it on the recording. So, well, Natasha, thank you for being here. I've looked forward to this. I know we had to postpone your show because of some family situations that I had. So, but you're here now, and I'm so glad that you are. I am excited about today and what we're going to be talking about. And the title of our show is Hormonal Harmony. And, it's the key to leadership and well-being, because this is a leadership show, but you have to take leadership in your own wellness. You have to take leadership in your own wellness. And that's so important. You have to be the advocate for yourself. Correct?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that that's very hard for people to do sometimes when they're leaders, because you have kind of have that mentality, like put yourself last.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a mom, moms are very well known to
Right.
put themselves last. You have a family to take care of. So it is very unfortunate that in this day and age that we do struggle with being able to be a good leader and take care of ourself and our own health.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get more into that as we kind of get into the show. But Natasha, what I'd really like for you to just kind of start out a little bit about your story. I mean, how did you get started as a pharmacist, and why did you get? I mean, were you a pharmacist from the very beginning, or did you do something prior to that, or and how did you get into this whole wellness thing? Because it's an amazing, amazing subject.
Well, it started almost 20 years ago. No,
Wow.
I did start in the field of pharmacy over 20 years ago, actually, when I was 18 years old. I started as a pharmacy technician, and I eventually got to a point to where I was making medicine at a compounding pharmacy. So like the good old apothecary days where you
Yeah.
actually use the pure powder form and you're making personalized medication. And that entailed a lot of out of the box thinking. That's really incredible with the field of pharmacy. So it wasn't like I was working at a CVS or a Walgreens,
Right, right. So let me ask you a
but
question. Is that like taking particular drugs and compounds and putting them in a dish and grinding them up, and certain percentages go into? I mean, how does that look? What does that look like for a guest who
so
don't know what a compounding pharmacy is?
so it's more sophisticated now with the equipment that we use. We have like
Mm-hmm.
electronic mortar and pestles, but
Mm-hmm.
most of the time when people think of like the good old apothecary days, they think of like a glass mortar and a pestle, right?
Right,
Where
right.
you're actually like grinding the medicine together. Whereas, it's more sophisticated now. We have equipment where we can make it in batches of, more than just a tiny little
Beautiful.
um, mortar and pestle. But yeah, it's a very different world, and it makes you think about medicine in a way that maybe you wouldn't normally think about medications. For example, like cimetidine is Tagamet. Most people know that medication. It's over the counter. You can take if you have some heartburn. But in the compounding world, that is a medication that we actually use to make into a topical salve that can be used for
Mm.
warts. So it's really thinking about the antiviral properties
Ah,
of medications that are typically used for a different indication.
that's pretty amazing.
So very unique.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about medicine. I'm gonna be honestly, so some of the questions I may ask, they sound like very fundamental because they are, because I don't know a whole lot about it. But it is interesting to me that how in a compounding pharmacy you take different, I guess, different type of drugs and create one particular drug to help a particular person in a particular need. I mean, am I thinking straight?
Yes, and it could be vastly different from what you typically think the medication is used for in a traditional way.
Right.
But I got to a point to where I really loved what I was doing as a pharmacy technician. And I was a single mom, and I decided, I want to be able to provide for my kids. And in
Yeah.
order to do that, I needed to go to pharmacy school. So I went to the University of Florida and I graduated in 2014. So you can imagine being a single mom going through pharmacy school, that's not something that's very easy to do.
Right.
So it compounded a lot of stress, and I didn't have time for myself. I did not have time to address any medical concerns that were actually building. So it got to a point to where at the time I didn't know it, but of course, looking back on it, I was developing diverticulitis, fibroids, and gallstones,
Ooh.
all which now, because of functional medicine, I know are estrogen dominant. And so it got to a point to where, it was like mind over matter, put myself last. And I was dealing with such excruciating pain. Like my husband was very concerned about me. And it got to a point to where I was going to the doctors and they were saying, okay, well, we'll put you on birth control pills. Well, I'm a pharmacist, so I knew a lot of intimate details about the pharmacokinetics, the pharmacodynamics, like how that works in your body and how your body responds to those drugs. And I thought, no, that poison is not for me. They would talk about steroids, and a lot of people have taken like a Medrol dose pack or something like that if
Right.
they're sick. And I did not want steroids. And there were other medications like antidepressants because they were like, well, we don't know what's wrong with you, so let's just slap a Band-Aid on there. So I knew I didn't want a prescription, and I had to figure out what's the root cause. Like, why am I feeling this way? Obviously, stress had a lot to do with it. I mean, who doesn't have a lot of stress that compounds and it leads to some medical condition that we've got to face and deal with? So by the grace of God, I actually learned about functional medicine through an elite academy called A4M. And if you're in the functional medicine world, like, you're very familiar with A4M. And so I completed all of their training courses and connected the dots, started realizing I was right. Like, my intuition was right. I didn't need medications to fix what was going on with my body.
Wow.
I needed to optimize my hormones. I needed to change my lifestyle. I needed to modify my diet. And all of those things together, I think about how I was 10 years ago and the health that I'm in today, drastically different, like such a transformation.
Wow.
So
Now,
I got started in this business.
Yeah. So I think I remember when we were doing our discovery call, you were, something happened at the pharmacy where they wanted you to, I can't remember what it was. They wanted you to do something and you weren't going to do it. I don't know how it was, but there was something there that the pharmacy changed and said, we're going to do this. And it wasn't for you anymore. You kind of knew that, and you had to leave that particular situation.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So I had worked in a sterile compounding department, and we made IV injections for horses all around the country, race horses all around the country. And, there were some questionable things that I just didn't align with, that I decided, my integrity just needed somewhere else to go.
Yeah.
And that's the moment when I decided I'm going to start my business. And because I know that there's other people out there that feel exactly the same way I did when it comes to their health. They don't want to take a medication, but they don't want to struggle with unbearable symptoms in their day-to-day life anymore.
That's kind of where I am. I mean, if I can avoid taking any kind of prescribed medication, I want to. I really don't want to do that. I don't want to take any kind of medication that has to do with anything it's gonna, that comes from a doctor or anything. I'd rather do something that's more natural from my perspective. I mean, and everybody is different. I mean, you have to be your own advocate for your own health. You have to be your own leader. You have to lead yourself. And the hardest person in the world to lead is yourself. And so, you have to have that advocacy for yourself, so that you be your own advocate, so that when you have an issue, that you got to go a direction maybe a little unconventional. And that's kind of where I'm at. And are you finding more people are looking toward that as you are in this field?
Absolutely. And I think that there's enough people in the medical field that have this mentality, fake it till you make it. And I just cringe at that thought. And that is exactly why that there's a lot of people out there who can't find the right person to trust, because there's so many people there that you can't trust, because they're just faking it, trying to figure out as they go, where there are credentialed people out there who have the correct background and educational expertise in order to steer and guide you in the right direction. But it takes time and probably a lot of prayer to be able to find that person.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be. And you have to, as a person, you have to kind of know too what you feel is wrong with you. And sometimes people have something wrong with them and they don't really know how to describe how that might feel or what is really going on. As a pharmacist, how do you help people understand if they're trying to describe to you their feelings? What do you go through a process with them, or how does that work?
Yeah, so on a discovery call, I could have, 10 different people with the same symptom, I can't sleep. That's very common.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me about that, because I used to have that.
I like to start with, okay, what does it take for you to sleep? At that moment of sleep, what do you need? Well, if you think about the neurotransmitters that are in your brain that affect your sleep, they're like light switches. And the excitatory ones, you want them shut off.
Yes.
The inhibitory ones, you want them turned on.
Mhm.
So you have these 6 different neurotransmitters, and they all have to be oriented in the correct direction. We have to find out which one it is and what orientation that they're in order for us to rightfully discover what is the issue with your sleep. So we can start there and work our way backwards. And so it could be a number of things, not just the neurotransmitters. It could be your hormones, it could be your cortisol levels, it could be progesterone, it could be estrogen dominance. I mean, there's a lot of different chemistry that's at play that can either assist your body's ability to sleep or inhibit your body's ability to sleep. And so you want everything oriented in the proper direction.
And I know, and as you said before, stress is a huge one. And I know that I've experienced that, and I'm sure you have as well. And there's so many people out there that are dealing with stress and not sure how to get past the overwhelm, how to get past the anxiety. And there are tools that you can use, physically to help you move from one state of mind, of what I call a primal state of mind, to a powerful state of mind, of more calm and more peace and different things like that. But sometimes your body needs an extra push. It needs something different. It needs something. Does that make sense? You can't always just do it in your head. Some people say, how can I do it from my head? Some people can. Some people can move that way. But man, sometimes it's very difficult.
I mean, they could be in adrenal fatigue, and they just need the proper nutrients for their adrenal glands to either produce the correct amount of cortisol, or maybe it's gotten to the point where it's affecting their thyroid now. And so it's all about the proper nutrients is the optimal foundation. And some people don't have the right gut health. So it's really a matter of, okay, what is the problem? Okay, if it's stress and you can't use meditation, you can't, go for walks, do breathing exercises, do yoga, the things that may be foreign to somebody, and the concept of them doing that, they need something to transition them to add something like nutrients or ashwagandha or adaptogenic herbs, holy basil, rhodiola, these things. But it's temporary to get them to the point to where their body has been kickstarted in a way to where it can move on its own like it's supposed to. But you are also implementing those things that you need help to deal with the stress as well.
Absolutely. What I love about you is when you have a consultation with a person, this is designed just for them. It's just not like you go to the store and pick up different vitamins and different things like that to try to take to get feeling better. You prescribe this exactly to their chemistries, their body's chemistry, so to speak, right?
Yeah, that's how I'm always thinking about medicine. That's how I always think about what is going to help your body. And it's not like it's a prescription. It can be something that's more nutrient dense that's necessary for you. And there's people out there, they can't swallow a capsule, they can't swallow a tablet. So I customize it. They can take something that's either under the tongue or something that they apply topically to their skin in order to accommodate what needs to be optimized for their body to help them, like I said, kickstart it, like get it in a way to where it can go roll on its own. Whereas if you can't take something in the form of a capsule, then, I'll formulate it to where you get it in a sublingual and it goes underneath the tongue.
Right, exactly. I love that because, as you said, there's some people that just can't simply take pills, and they need something different, and you're able to prescribe that to them or actually help them get where they need to go with that. Do you actually build the compound for them?
So I have a full script dispensary, and so I have products that I choose specifically for them based on their lab results or what they're struggling with. And customize it that way. I don't make the medicine anymore.
Right. Okay.
But I do have professional grade supplements and hormones that are bioidentical to what our bodies make that I choose to recommend for people.
That's perfect. So we're going to take a quick break, Natasha, and we're going to, when we come back, I want to take it from square one. Like, I'm a person that comes in and you're going to help me. I want you to take it step by step by step, what you do to help a person to get where they need to be. And then I want you, if you have any stories, tell me some stories that, that success rate that you've had and different things like that. Can we do that?
I love it. Yes, let's do it.
Perfect. Okay, great. So we're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick break. And when we return, we're going to talk about some of the success rates that Natasha's had, and we're going to take step by step of what you do to really get where you need to go in your body. We'll be right back to the Leader's Edge. Are you ready to elevate your organization with a team of transformational leaders? Do you want to attract and nurture top talent while enhancing communication and productivity across generations? Hi, I'm Steve Steele, co-host of The Leader's Edge, and your coach with the Maxwell Leadership Team. My program equips leaders with essential skills and resources to lead, coach, and communicate effectively, ensuring everyone thrives. With tailored insights and proven strategies, I'm here to help your entire organization succeed. So reach out today at growthinleadership@gmail.com or visit johncmaxwellgroup.com/Steve Steele. Hey everyone, welcome back to Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele, your host, with our special guest today, Natasha Mankins. Natasha, before we went to break, we talked a little bit about what you did and how you got started in all of this, and what being a I guess a compounding pharmacist is what you would call it, and how you actually created some of that, and how you got started. But now what I want to do is I want to talk about a little about what you do now. So I want you to take me from the very beginning, a person who's maybe feeling they've got, let's just say, let me ask you this question. What is a common particular ailment, so to speak, for lack of better words, that a person might have that will come to you? And then I want you to take me through that step by step by step, what you do to help them get feeling better and to have a more of a quality life.
And I wish it were just one symptom, but I tell you, it's most commonly brain fog, fatigue, and weight gain.
Is that right?
Yeah. And usually those three follow each other. And of course, having trouble with sleep, that's intermittent, but very common.
What causes those things, Dr. Natasha? What causes those things?
It's very unique to each individual, actually. And so we start with a discovery call. And before we actually have that 15 minutes of time to get to know each other, you have a form that you fill out that gives me a little bit more information of what symptoms exactly are you struggling with, and what have you tried previously? Have you tried anything that is, lifestyle modifications, dietary? How much exercise do you get? And do you take supplements or medications? And are you willing to do some testing? And what commonly happens is people will say, I went to the doctor and I was struggling with brain fog, fatigue, and excess weight. And, they don't necessarily want to be on a GLP-1. And, they've looked at the risk versus benefits, and they've decided they do want to go a more natural approach. And so once we have the discovery call, then I'm able to determine, okay, let's proceed with testing, but I have different testing packages that are available. And it all depends on your age, whether you have thyroid issues, whether you have autoimmune conditions, whether you're already taking medications. And the fit will be designed based on where you're at in your life and how much you're struggling. And so I offer testing packages anywhere from food sensitivity test, which is amazing for people who actually have arthritis and people who have gut issues. These are very important to understand the difference between it's a healthy food that you're eating, but a couple of days later, you don't realize it, but there's a lot of inflammation that's building behind the scenes, and you're not able to connect like, okay, I ate a strawberry 3 days ago. Now I have a lot of inflammation in my body. It doesn't, we're not able to like journal that, right?
Right.
But with the food sensitivity test, you're able to see, okay, you've got a lot of inflammation going on because you're severely allergic to XYZ. And that is a test that really helps people who are having brain fog and weight gain.
I mean, how would you know? I mean, if I love strawberries and I had a strawberry allergy, it'd be devastating, right? I mean, you would think, oh my gosh, I didn't really. There's some people don't ever really know they have these allergies and go through life not even knowing.
Yeah, because there's actually a difference between IgE and IgG, and those are immunoglobulins that are a part of our immune system. And usually, like if you have a strawberry and you have a rash later, a couple hours later or immediately, you know, like that was an IgE reaction to the strawberry versus the testing that I do with food sensitivity is IgG, and that's happening beyond that first initial reaction. And that is where the inflammation comes from. So that's just an example of one test package that I offer, but I am known as a hormone specialist. And for those who are needing something like a little more in depth as far as hormone testing goes, especially beyond what doing like a regular blood work would be able to define, because a lot of women go to the doctor and say, I know it's my hormones, they get labs and everything's within normal range. Well, you're testing the hormones in the transportation system. Why it is really important to look at this with a more functional medicine approach when it comes to testing. We are actually looking at the hormone levels and the metabolites in either the urine or the saliva. And that is a direct representation of the hormone that has gotten into the cell, the hormone that has done the function within the tissue and has been eliminated from the body. So that actually correlates very much with the symptoms that people are having, especially with brain fog, low libido, low energy. We're able to see, okay, well, this is exactly where you're deficient or you're making too much of a certain hormone, and here's where we need to optimize it because the results are a roadmap.
Absolutely. And I know you work with a lot of women, but do you work with men as well?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah.
And my favorite one on the planet just recently had his testing done.
Uh-oh.
And yes, so if my husband is listening, it would be hilarious if he were able to chime in. But yeah, we did his blood work, and it's really amazing how even though men, you know, we only think about testosterone, but
Pretty
testosterone,
much.
yeah, I mean, it's quite a dominant hormone, and unfortunately, men aren't making as much testosterone as they did, you know, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. And
why is that, Dr. Mankins? Why is that?
I think it's truly in the foods that we're eating. There's a lot of toxins in there that are endocrine disruptors. So what that means is, you know, there's things in the foods that do the opposite effects of the hormones in our body. And it's doing the opposite. It's also occupying the receptor of the cell so that the true actual hormone can't get into the cell and do the function of that hormone. So I think there's two things at play there that really accounts for why the testosterone levels aren't as robust as they should be because of the environment and the toxins. And, it's just our bodies are not adapting very well to those toxins.
So would you recommend, what is it? If you have food that is, you don't have all the pesticides and stuff or all the stuff that is in them or the preservatives that's in them, organic type foods, would that be a better way to go if you had to?
Organic foods for sure, and water is huge. Having, clean filtered water, that's something that we've done in our family for decades. Whenever we move into a new place, we're in the military, so we move around a lot. And the first thing that we do is put a sophisticated filtration system in the house and make sure that all the water that you're drinking is very highly filtered. And the reason is, if let's say you have tap water that has a lot of toxins in it, well, comparatively, if you're drinking water that is very pure and it's remineralized, then you're assisting your body's ability to excrete the toxins that are just a normal chemistry byproduct every day. Like, we have toxins that build up just by living, just by breathing and eating.
Yeah.
We need to assist our body's ability to detoxify. And so if we're drinking water that is, has higher levels of toxins, then, we're just promoting more toxic buildup. And that usually leads, a lot of people are having migraines.
Oh, yeah.
Because of that.
I imagine that. So I want to get back to this a little bit. So once a person comes in, they do the testing, what happens next? After they get the testing, they get results. What do you do next to prescribe or to lead them the direction they need to go to get feeling better?
Yeah, so we have, my platform is Practice Better. I use it because it's HIPAA compliant, and we do a call. It's a video call where I explain in depth what their results are. Right now, my favorite test is the Dutch Complete test. It's the hormone test that has the hormones, the metabolites. It's also looking at neurotransmitters, and it's looking at oxidative stress. It's looking at B vitamin status, melatonin, cortisol levels. So it's like a full comprehensive panel. And I go through the tests. First of all, I do an overview. And we celebrate the things that, hey, your body is doing great. Because most women are worried about, tell me how messed up I am. Whereas it's a celebration of, no, your body's chemistry is doing these great and wonderful things. And we're celebrating the fact that you did this test. And here is where we can focus on optimizing to assist your body's ability to maybe make more progesterone because you're not. And, tone down that estradiol that your body is making too much of. Really do a shift in your metabolites of your estrogens so that you're not building up these toxic metabolites of estrogen and they're being stored in your fat tissues. And you're wondering, why is it that I'm eating right, I'm exercising, I can't lose this weight? So we celebrate the fact that, oh, here it is in the test that's revealing your struggle that you knew had a hormonal component. And I go through, here's what you could do. Here's your lifestyle modifications that you can make. Here's your dietary choices that you should be looking at. And also, here are some supplements that are there as supplements for maybe a 3-month, maybe 6-month duration in order to kickstart your body's ability to make the shifts that are necessary for you to have the outcomes that you're looking for.
Okay, so once you find the outcome and you know what you're looking for, what do you do next? How do you help them? How do you get them to what they need to be taking, actually ingesting to get their bodies feeling better?
So I design a personalized protocol plan, and it's from the products that I have in my FullScript account. And so it could be anything from supplements to hormones that I'm able to create a link for them, and they're able to purchase those products. And every single one has specific timing of when they should take it, the duration of how long they should take it, and they get a printout of each product. And so it really is structured and helps them with, okay, this is what I need to do. This is the plan that I need to follow. And it includes not just the supplements, but also the lifestyle and the diet, as I had mentioned before.
And do you find that when people, when they get that particular knowledge that you've given them, that they follow through and they make that happen? Do you have any stories that you have the success stories on?
Yes, I have some really great ones. And one of my favorites is, she's a cheerleader to me at heart. She's an instructor at a gym, and she was really struggling with her hormones. And with women, especially, in their 30s, whenever they're struggling with acne, that's really tough. And she was having problem with sleep, and she's a single mom. So of course, like I have a heart for single mom.
Yeah.
And we did some hormone testing, and I created a protocol plan that worked for her lifestyle. And she, within 2 to 3 weeks, she was showing me photos of how much her skin had improved. That's something that sometimes women will celebrate that more than being able to sleep at night, just because that's very important. And she was sleeping incredibly well. So she definitely attributed that to the testing that we did, and we were able to see like a roadmap what she needed to do, and the tweaks and changes that she had made a world of difference within a very short amount of time. So I'm very grateful that she was able to do that.
Now, do you find that once you have a patient that gets started on this as a process, does the body end up over a period of time fixing itself, or do you have to stay on this all the time? You have to continue this process all the time for the rest of your life, maybe?
So I'll speak only to myself when it comes to bioidentical hormones. It's something that I want to continue to take. I'm 46 years old. I've been taking it for 10 years. I don't want to get to a point to where my levels are so low I have to deal with the cardiovascular risk, the dementia risk. I want it to strengthen my bones. There's just a lot of reasons I want to continue to take bioidentical hormones.
Right.
And so it really is a personal decision. But if it's something to where you just want to do this temporarily, and like I said, kickstart your body's ability to do it, and then retest later, make sure that your body is at the optimal levels without the use, then of course, people can choose to wean off and not take any of those things.
Do you recommend they stay on it then? Do you recommend that they do that? Continue to stay on it?
I let it be their personal choice, whether they want to or not. I think it is a very personal decision, and there are many factors that contribute to that. Like, maybe they've had somebody in their family who has had cancer, and they're under the misnotion that hormones cause cancer, and they just want something to get them by for a short period of time to alleviate those symptoms of the night sweats and hot flashes and fatigue.
Do you have I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then, it's up to them to decide if they want to continue or just use it short term to get them through that stage of menopause.
I see. Absolutely. So do you have any patients, Dr. Natasha, that maybe have some severe ailments like cancer or heart disease or anything like that you're able to help?
No, not cancer. I let people who are specialists in that area. I actually have colleagues that I can refer them to. I specialize in people who have never been on hormones before, and they do want to get started on hormones, and also people who know that it's their hormones that are at play that are causing their irritability, their mood swings, things like that, and they do want to get tested, and they're motivated by the results to make changes either through lifestyle, diet, or supplementation.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about more of your success rates, maybe another story, and kind of share with us a little bit because here's the thing. There's a lot of people out there that may say, I'm feeling this way. I just don't know why. I just need to, and they need more reassurance. So when we come back, let's talk about that and maybe another success story that you had. So we'll be right back to the Leader's Edge.
All right, podcasters, let's be honest for a second. If your show sounds like it was recorded inside of a tin can, in your cousin's basement, in a van down by the river with your dog barking in the background, it's time for an upgrade. That's where 216 Creator Studios comes in, the home of real production, real people who actually know what all those shiny buttons do. They've got pro mics, top-tier editing, and lighting that makes everyone look like they slept 8 hours, even if you didn't. Whether you're just starting out or you've been podcasting since people were still saying, smash that like button, give me a thumbs up. 216 Creator Studio helps you sound crisp, confident, and ready for the big leagues. So stop recording in your car, stop arguing with your USB mic, and get into 216 Creator Studios, where your podcast finally sounds as good as you think it does.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele, your host, with our special guest today, Natasha Mankins. Thank you, Natasha, for that last segment. We talked a little bit about how some of the things that you do work for people, what people come to you and look for, how you can help their bodies. But I wanted to get into another time of success that you had with a particular patient. And I know we talked about one earlier. Do you have any success rates? Do you have any men patients that you have success rates on?
I do, yes, actually. A couple of stories that are really great. I had somebody who was a dad and owned a business and, had 2 kids, and he had been struggling with GI issues for a very long time. So much so that they could not go out to eat. Like, he had to choose very
Really?
had to eat.
Wow.
Absolutely. And what's really great about his story is I gave him the option of, okay, we could either do a protocol to where we clean up your gut and, assume that you have some gut issues and go forward with the GI protocol. We could do some GI testing. And the other option was to do I call it the biggest bang for the buck. It's a metabolomics test where it's looking at 5 different areas of the body. It's a urine test, and it's comprehensive, and it will look at gut health. Because in our gut, if we have bad bacteria that's growing, secondarily, it will cause our liver to spill over certain enzymes in our urine. So we did the test, and it was the perfect test for him, in fact, because it really wasn't microbial, like bad bacteria growing in his gut, like you would have assumed if you had not done any testing. And in fact, he was just living in a state of fight or flight so much. And it's not like you can look at somebody and tell. It's not like they have to be like jittery or anxious.
Right.
In order for the epinephrine and norepinephrine turnover to be really, really high. And so if you think about it with people who have gut dysfunctions, you really have to teach them that digestion starts before you even put food in your mouth. Like it starts whenever we're cutting up the food. So if we're cutting up a carrot,
Really?
you're cutting up a carrot, your olfactory, your nose, sends these sensations to your brain that says, okay, we're cutting up a carrot. We need to prime the digestive enzymes in the GI tract in order to break down this food that we're about to consume. So it became a moment of, there were other factors, but this specifically with his gut health, he had to learn that he was living in such fight or flight that he had to learn how to transition over to rest and digest. And a lot of the times when people are, let's say they're working from, they're entrepreneurs, they're all of their meals are consumed in front of a computer. You're not giving your body the proper ability and time that it takes to digest the food and become nutrients for your cells. So you have to disconnect yourself and really turn on that rest and digest part of your body to be able to fix your gut, because you have to fix what was the problem in the first place. And he was able to learn that, first of all. There were some things in order to assist his body's ability to transition over from, too much norepinephrine turnover. We had to tone down the adrenals. And in that, he was able to feel so much better after struggling for so long. So he was extremely grateful. And, those are success stories that I hold near and dear to my heart. And of course, like I had mentioned, my favorite person on the planet recently had his hormones tested, but he's my guinea pig for a man. I tell him, do this test.
Oh my gosh.
Take this. And he is amazing, because when I first started this business, he said, treat me like your patient, and I'll do what you tell me to do. And I'll just disclose, like, he was a fighter pilot for a really long time. And of course, in the Navy, they give very derogatory call signs. And
Oh yeah.
he was given the call sign Porkins. And even though he is the sexiest man alive to me, he was given that call sign because he doesn't have that physique that aviators typically have, tall and slender.
Right.
Those are his words, not mine. So he has lost a lot of weight.
Well, yeah, I've met him.
In a healthy way, in a
Yeah.
very healthy way. Since I started this business, I told him what he needed to do, things he needed to change, and the testing that he needed to do. And based on those results, I gave him a personalized protocol plan to follow. And I told him, like, this could, as a wife telling her husband what to do, this could go really bad really quickly. But he will say, I finally listened to my wife, and it has transformed him in a very beautiful way.
That is amazing. It really is. Have that kind of success, and even in your own family, is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Dr. Natasha, so if a person gets with you and they find out what's wrong with them, then you have that, you lay out everything that they need to do. How do they get to the stuff that they need, and how do they get started?
So, like, get started with a discovery call. Go to my website and schedule a discovery call. And then from there, like I said, you have the form to fill out. We do the discovery call. We determine what test is right. And then once the results are available, we do that consultation. And then we develop the personalized protocol plan. Once we develop that, I check up on the person, depending on what the protocol is, sometimes 2-3 weeks later, sometimes 4 to 6 weeks later, just see, how are you doing? How are things going? And of course, they know how to get in contact with me if there's anything that they want to mention along the way. So,
and they can go, and you have a website for them that they can go to and purchase the products that they need. to feel better with, right? Is that your particular website, your own website, or is that a website of particular ingredients or compounds that you send them to?
So let's say somebody knows that they want creatine. A lot of people are taking creatine or protein, and they know specifically exactly what they want. They can go to my website, click shop now, and it will bring them to FullScript, and they can purchase through my account the things that they know that they want. But of course, as a credentialed pharmacist who specializes in functional medicine and supplements, they can easily contact me through texting or calling me or sending me a message on the website as well, so that I can give a personal recommendation for things that are specific, and especially if they're looking for something that's a very high quality grade, things that I know work very well because I've been in this industry for a long time.
Right. Now, I know that you're a local here in Fort Worth, so that's how I know you. So, but do you take people from all over the country?
I do for supplements, absolutely. Anybody all over the country actually gets supplements from me right now. And as far as the testing goes, I am licensed in multiple states because, like I said, I'm a military wife, so we've lived a lot of places.
Yeah.
And I can certainly do testing in those states that I'm licensed in. So
Do you, if a person is not in the particular state that you're licensed in, do you send them? How do you help them?
So it's pretty much on a personal basis. I look at where they are and the laws of that state when it comes to the testing. Some states are very, very strict, like, New York and Rhode Island. There's no testing that I can recommend for them in those areas. California is one of those that are very, very strict. And so I just take it by a case-by-case basis to see what those state laws are for pharmacists and, their rights as it pertains to testing.
Absolutely. Well, if you look up in the top left-hand corner, you can see the QR code there where Dr. Natasha's website is, and you can get all the information you want on her and how she can, how you can contact her. But Dr. Natasha, if you're local in our Fort Worth area, how would you recommend people get a hold of you?
Well, they can, same as anybody else who is not local, reach out because I don't have a brick and mortar, but I have met people, at other places just to show them evidences of like the sample reports that I have to show them the value in person. So yeah, calling me or texting me would be the greatest way to get a hold of me.
And I want to make sure that everybody knows that, you don't have an office that you have to go to. They can do everything from the convenience of their own home, right?
Yeah, all of the tests are at-home test kits, and think about that too. You want to know what your levels are in your own environment. That is way different than taking time out of your stressful day, making an appointment at LabCorp, getting stuck with a needle.
Oh yeah.
That inevitably is going to alter your levels much differently than, the comfort of your own home.
Absolutely. I know that I don't like to get stuck with needles. If I can avoid it, I'm not going to get stuck with a needle. So that's beautiful. Dr. Natasha, any last words you want to share with our audience before we leave for the day?
I mean, schedule a discovery call. It's complimentary, and I would, love to help in any way that I can.
Absolutely. So I want to recommend that. I know that Dr. Natasha personally, she's a beautiful, beautiful person. You will love her. She is just magnificent at what she does. So if you're dealing with any of those kind of issues, get a hold of her. You got the QR code, get a hold of her, talk to her. It never hurts to get information. You don't have to do anything, but it never hurts to get the right information, right? Exactly. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Natasha. I want everyone to understand that next week, I want you to join me as I welcome an inspiring guest, Kenneth O'Neill, a Zig Ziglar legacy coach, to explore the transformative insights within his book, the circle of gumption. And just as a reminder, you can find The Leader's Edge on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you find value in the conversations, please hit that subscribe button or follow to stay connected. I want to say thank you again to all of our listeners and all of our friends. Without you, The Leader's Edge would not be possible. I'm so grateful to have you here today and so excited to connect with you next time. So everyone, have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.